kindly request everyone to put their phones in silent mode. A very good morning, esteemed dignitaries, judicial officers, faculty members, participants, and students gathered here today. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the final round of the 6th NLIU-Singhania National Client Counseling Competition 2024. We are truly honored to have an esteemed panel of judges for this prestigious event. We have with us today Honorable Justice Shri Vivek Agarwal, Honorable Justice Shri Vishal Dhagat, Mr. Ravi Singhania, Professor Dr. Agarwal, and Professor Dr. Sanjay Kumar Yadav. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to them for joining us today. Can we please have a round of applause for our judges? We have Team Code 04 and Team Code 20 who have qualified for the final rounds. Similarly, clients who have qualified for the final rounds are Sweksha Gupta and Priyam Soni. TC4 shall be going first, followed by TC20. To all our participants, I wish you all the very best of luck.
Hello. Good morning. It's a pleasure to meet you. I am Sadhana from SS Legal. I am a senior associate. This is my co-counsel.
A very good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. I am Sanyukta. I am a senior counsel at SS Legal. And alright. Before we begin, could you just give a brief introduction about yourself?
Hi, my name is Smita and you can address me as Suresh.
Okay, Smita. So, let us give you a brief introduction about our firm. We have been practicing for over a decade. Us have been practicing for almost 8 to 9 years. Our firm has been extensively dealing with various areas of law, and our stronghold remains criminal law. The firm has been, as I already said, in business for over a decade. So rest assured, we are here to provide you best-in-class service and will help you make an informed choice.
Sorry to interrupt. Please introduce who is the speaker 1 and who is the speaker 2. And then we request you to use mic more professionally so that we are all able to hear you. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Hello. Speaker 1, Speaker 2, please introduce yourself.
Sir, I'll be speaker 1, Sanyukta.
I'll be speaker 2, Sadhana.
Can we resume? Thank you, sir. As I was saying, we'll try to address and accommodate all of your needs. And the reason why both of us are here assisting you today is in either case where one of us is not present, you have another advocate who is equally familiar with your case, who could help you equally better. So, you may see us referring to some notes throughout this session. That's because we had received a secretarial note from our legal team. So we prepared a basic preliminary research so to help you better. And that being said, start.
So Smita, is this your first time? Hello. Smita, is this your first time going to any law firm or lawyer for a consultation?
Yeah, this is my first time.
So let me just guide you with basic details of how today's session will go forward. Firstly, the whole session will be covered under confidentiality agreement, that is attorney-client privilege. That means whatever we discuss, the details you provide to us, and all the information you give is confidential and would not be disclosed to any third party. Secondly, if in this case there's a financial crunch for the legal expenses, we are happy to help you with the special pro bono cases which we take, and we can discuss this after the session ends. I would just like to remind you to be as open as possible about the details of the case, the information which you provide us, and so there could be a best solution we could provide you. Would you like to tell us in detail why you are here?
Yeah. So as I have already introduced myself, my name is Kumar and I'm a resident of Bhopal itself. I'm here because of my son Ravi. I lost my son Ravi last week due to an appendicitis. And to be specific, not because of that, but particularly due to the inactions and lapses by 2 government hospitals. I don't know, I'm still at the stage where I'm unable to process things. I don't know what I should do next, and this is the reason I'm here. I'll start from the very beginning. So Rahul was my son who was of 17 years of age. And suddenly he complained me at midnight at around 12:30 a.m. that he was having this acute abdominal pain. So since we live here in Bhopal, I decided to immediately rush him to our city hospital, which is the government hospital here in Bhopal. It is the government hospital which is there in this district. And I thought that everything would be rushed quickly, but nothing went the way I had thought it would go there in the hospital. So let me give you a brief background about myself. So I'm from a really financially struggling family, and Rahul was the only earning member in my family. My husband had passed away earlier last year in a workplace accident at a government construction company. Now, since then, we have been sustaining on whatever little money my husband had left or whatever government had paid us upon his death. And Rahul, as I mentioned, he was 17 years old. He was still pursuing his studies, and he alongside that he also started earning some money. And through this income, it was the only source of income, and this is how we sustained ourselves. Also, we had this Rashi card. Now, this Rashi card was issued by the government to people from economically weaker section like ours, and it could for free treatment, for absolutely free treatment, and it could be used at a government hospital like the city hospital where I took my son. I took this Rashi card and I submitted this card there at the hospital at the reception desk. And initially I thought that things would rush immediately. Like once I submit this card, things like the doctor would arrive, they will treat my son, and so on and so forth. But the people at the reception told me that they will take some time to let this card be processed. I mean, they were so focused with cost cutting and their protocols that they said that processing would take time. But they suggested me an alternative, that I could have paid them some admission charges alternatively. And they also assured me that these admission charges would be reimbursed once this Rashi card gets processed. But it didn't make any sense to me. I thought that it would be better to wait for this Rashi card to get processed, and I waited. Little did I know that it will take them 30 minutes. Now, for 30 minutes I had to wait for this one piece of paper to get processed, and I had to for the time being, I had to wait and watch my son who was crying in acute pain. Now, after those 30 minutes passed, finally our doctor came from OPD and he diagnosed Rahul and he informed me that he had appendicitis and that he need to go, he needs to undergo a surgery. And my son was then referred to one Dr. Kumar for the purpose of surgery. Dr. Kumar was going to perform the surgery on my son. Now, Dr. Kumar was not present there himself. He didn't attend himself. But what he said was he instructed one Mr. Aditya. He instructed him that once you get done with this preparatory stage, meaning thereby that you prepare the operation theatre, and once you are done with it, once you are done with this preparatory stage, I'll come and I'll perform the operation. Now, initially I thought that this Mr. Aditya, he is a doctor himself. But later on I got to know from the staff members who were present here that he was not actually a doctor. He was a medical student, a third-year medical student. Initially I thought it was really weird because my son who needed immediate medical attention, and he was in the hands of this medical student. But anyways, since Dr. Kumar had instructed him, Mr. Aditya, he prepared the operation theatre and he made few inquiries about Rahul before administering anesthesia to him. I replied to those queries, whatever he had. And I was finally relaxed that finally things will move and he will be undergoing the operation and other things. But again, as and when some 25 or 30 minutes passed, I noticed that something was really wrong. The environment in that operation theatre was really chaotic. So many people were rushing in and out, and I didn't know what was exactly happening, and I felt really terrified because my son was there inside the operation theatre. But then I went and asked one Mr. Ankit who was present there, who was the attendant. He informed me that Rahul's heart rate was dropping really rapidly. And my head started spinning because I was unable to understand the fact that how an acute abdominal pain can cause a patient's heart rate to decline rapidly. But later on, towards the end, when I had actually lost him, I got these answers. Mr. Ankit also told me that my son should be immediately rushed to another hospital, IHC. Which was another hospital with advanced treatment and advanced medical equipments to handle this situation. And they said that city hospital is not equipped to, treat him right now. So I couldn't understand because I knew that city hospital, from my limited knowledge, I knew that city hospital was equipped enough, it had all the required medical equipments and it provided all the necessary or important medical treatments. But I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand the fact that why Mr. Aditya was someone who was attending my son and not any other, maybe nurse who could have administered anesthesia. But anyways, so the ambulance arrived, ambulance of the city hospital, and he dropped us there at the IHC hospital. And we reached there, and again, I couldn't understand the fact why things were moving so slow. We arrived there, and it took almost half an hour or 45 minutes or so for a doctor to arrive there and to attend. So initially there was no one to actually take him to the concerned room where he was supposed to be there from the ambulance, where the ambulance dropped us. And then I remember I was running all through, I was running across the building of the hospital, but I couldn't find any doctor there. Finally, the emergency doctor arrived, he diagnosed, and he said what I had been written. He said that it was and then he was brought to death. Now, I cannot possibly describe you the shock or the pain that I felt at that moment. Like, imagine a 50-year-old mother watching her 17-year-old son crying for help. It was not as if it was an accident which happened in a snap of a moment. I had watched him gradually dying, crying for help. That, Amma, I will really make you proud one day. Please, please, please save my life. Things like that. But how could I? My son had almost his entire life, almost half, at least more than half of his life to live. But anyways, I had lost him, and here I was left alone, and I had nothing but to believe that maybe I could have taken him to maybe a private hospital, maybe, and he was the only earning member of our family, as I have told you, and now I have lost him, and now I don't have anyone to emotionally and financially to depend upon. I have always been dependent upon someone. So this is where it ended. When I was present there at the IHC hospital, I had also tried contacting one of my cousin uncle. But I couldn't connect to him. But I was later able to reconnect to him, wherein he informed me like certain information. Like he asked me that I should have taken him to the private hospital. I should not have, at the very first place, decided to go for a government hospital.
I really understand that this is a very difficult situation for you, and telling us about the complete scenario is so detailed, it's equal to reliving this, your son's death. But we have some more questions to clearly understand the situation. Before that, my co-counsel will summarize whatever you have told you, and you can tell us if you are questioning the outcome.
Really, really sorry for your loss and all the hardships that you had to go through. Mother's pain is something that we might not be able to understand. That too, losing a 17-year-old kid, we are really sorry. So, but we have to go through this again. So, Smita, when you said that you went to government hospital at 12:30 in the night.
Yeah. 12:30 was the time when he informed me.
Okay, and when did you reach?
Almost half an hour.
Okay. And when you reached, did it tell you anything about this Rashi card or anything?
I was the first one to inquire about it.
Okay.
I already had it, so I
Sure.
went at that reception.
And the attendant, the doctor there was Dr. Kumar.
No. So first there was one doctor from OPD who diagnosed him.
Okay.
Told me that he had appendicitis
Hmm.
and he needs immediate treatment. His appendicitis had inflamed, and if he was not immediately operated upon, they would have closed.
Okay. And thereafter they informed
Then he was
Dr.
referred,
Kumar. Yes, and Dr. Kumar referred him again to Mr. Aditya, who is a student.
yeah, for preparing the operation.
Throughout this, did they explain to you by the whole surgery, or how the whole surgery was to be done, or anything like that?
They did explain me in detail.
Okay. And when did you take him from the first government hospital to INC?
As in, you are asking
Time.
maybe 3 to 4 hours.
3 to 4 hours later. So you were waiting in ICU till then?
I'm not
patient
sure.
was.
So, yeah, like initially 30 minutes, 35 minutes was the time which was required for the processing of the Rashi card. I had to wait there. and then half an hour or 45 minutes or so when the operation theatre was getting prepared. Maybe like maybe 2.5 hours.
But he was in ICU or CCU.
He was there in, I'm not sure.
Okay, sure. And did they give any kind of permission slip to shift him from there to the next hospital?
Sorry.
So the requirement here is there should be a permission from the doctor to shift him from one hospital to another in such a critical condition. So was there any kind of communication to you or any signed papers or anything like that
That they are going
to shift? Because the attendant, Mr. Ankit, clearly just told you.
Yeah.
Was there anything else? Okay. And after you went to IHC hospital, was there another doctor who attended him immediately or was anyone?
No, he was not attended immediately.
Okay.
There was a time lag of about half an hour or 35 minutes.
Okay.
Before we go into the implementation phase, can you tell us more about your son? What was he studying? Which year he was?
He was still in school. He was in 28 and what did you ask?
No problem. So he was studying in school? Well. He had any prior medical conditions?
Yeah, like earlier he was diagnosed with inflamed appendicitis.
Once.
And how long ago was this?
A year or so.
So, when your son was carried in the ambulance from the city hospital to LC hospital, what was his condition?
As in?
You were in the ambulance with him?
Yes, I was.
You saw so anesthesia was already administered to him in the city hospital. And the doctor said you that his blood pressure was dropping rapid.
No, heartbeat.
Okay, heartbeats were dropping rapid. Did you see any other signs in your son, like the color of the skin changing to blue?
I'm not. It was so panicky situation.
It's completely
I
fine.
don't recall it.
Regarding anesthesia, was there any anesthesiatic professional available there at the first hospital?
No, Mr. Aditya was the one who had administered.
Okay.
Was Mr. Aditya with you in the ambulance? No. So you were alone without any medical professional. After you went there, so what, according to what you were told, your son was alive when you were in the ambulance with your son.
When I arrived at, when I leave the second hospital and after an hour or so when the emergency doctor arrived, they declared him that he was brought there.
So nothing was told to you about his death in the city hospital. While in the ambulance, did you even check his pulse or anything like that? No, nothing.
How long ago was this day?
4 or 5 days back.
4 or 5 days. Have you reached any of the authorities, let's say a police complaint? Have you filed? And this is the first legal remedy that
Yeah.
you see. Okay.
As my co-counsel already asked you, before the transfer, did they ask you to complete any paperwork, sign anywhere?
Sir, I'm not that dictated to sign a paperwork. I'm not
The time when Mr. Aditya, who was a medical student, administered the anesthesia to your son, did he inform you or explain to you what the procedure is, what the dangers of the procedure were, and take your
administration.
and administering the anesthesia as well as the surgery which was going to happen?
He did make some inquiries, like before administering anesthesia, like what is his past medical history, or does he have any allergies, or is he under any current medication?
So he inquired about the information, but did he explain you the dangers of the surgery? Or what could be the worst case?
I don't recall.
There was no written consent for the surgery as well, which he took from you.
No, because the surgery, like there was still some time, maybe there was still some time left for the actual surgery to start. Because it was Dr. Kumar who had to perform this, not him.
So I'm guessing this was 4 to 5 days back. So the body has been cremated. So Smita, we are looking at 2 options here. The first, so before we could begin, what are your expectations out of this? I mean, we understand that you are seeking justice for your son, but could you explain it a little?
Yeah. So firstly, I want to hold the responsible person accountable. Now I don't know who was it. Whether it was Dr. Kumar, whether it was some other authority, some other official. I want that person to be held accountable, because I don't understand how they could have let my son die there. Like no one was there to attend. Even at the INC hospital, no one was there. I wish to know like what options do I have, and more importantly, I don't want anyone else to suffer and witness what I witnessed. Meaning thereby that I don't want to see that medical students like Mr. Aditya are left there to attend patients, and patients like my son are left there to be used as a training tool for medical, like for their practical training purposes.
Okay, so for the first,
Yes, Smita, we understand that you want the justice for your son as well as preventing more such situation or the accidents which happen. So you have a lot of folks, or you actually have a right under Indian Constitution that the government institutions or the hospitals has a duty to care for your son. It is your fundamental right, and you have a lot of options to take compensation or take justice against them. The options for the justice we would suggest is, first we can file against the doctor in charge, that is Mr. Kumar, Dr. Kumar, who first of all negligently hand over the care of your son to a medical student without the supervision of an actual medical licensed professional. So we can file a complaint an Indian Medical Council for the debarment of the Dr. Kumar as well as cancelling his license. The second option is to take a criminal action against Mr. Kumar or anyone operating in a situation where they are not allowed to or they are not authorized to by the Indian Medical Council. For example, Mr. Aditya, who administered the anesthesia without any professional anesthetist, and the team which should be there, which should have been there. And thirdly, you are very well entitled for a compensation, which there are various ways you should get a counsel from all those.
so just to explain a little bit more, when we say we will file a criminal complaint, that is a private complaint that we are going to file. After we file such complaint, there has to be a preliminary investigation as well. So I'm getting you do have the death certificate with you.
Yeah, I have the death certificate.
Okay. So in order to file for a preliminary inquiry, we will also need a credible opinion by a expert to support our claim, who is a doctor, of course. So when we say preliminary inquiry, we do file the complaint, statements will be recorded, and certain reports are there, they will be looked into. Also, the records of treatment will be looked into. So records of treatment might be electronic as well. All the things that you have said, if they are documented, we'll look into that. Apart from that, an investigation officer will be appointed to carry out all of this investigation, starting from the hospital managerial staff to doctors and to nurses, everyone who was present there. Secondly, an autopsy report will be put forward to a medical board who will look into the allegations that we have made, and after the board has decided whether the doctor has been guilty of negligence or not, they will file a criminal complaint. And as we are filing for negligence, we can also file a formal complaint for misconduct and request for the punishment. And but this might take a little time, as the time provided for all of this is 6 months. So yeah, we have to take that into the consideration. Are you seeking any compensation as such? Okay. So for compensation, we can approach Consumer Protection Forum. So even there, we can file for negligence as well as deficiency in services by the hospital. There will be a summary procedure for it, so we hope that it concludes earlier. Apart from that, we might as well discuss the amount for compensation that you're looking at. We would suggest that there are various factors that contribute to it. What was your son earning when all of this happened? 5 to 6,000. And how much did you spend throughout the all of his medical courses that you did?
See, I used the
Rashi card, yeah.
It was free of cost.
Okay, sure. We actually need a lot of more information. Were there any more dependents other than you on him? Okay.
So about the compensation we are talking about, suggested that there are multiple ways we can move ahead for the compensation. One being the consumer courts, but the consumer courts has a limit on the compensation, which is for the state and the national commission, which are the higher sides of the commission, is once a year. From the detail you have provided that your son was young, he was studying, you already had an income, he was the only breadwinner of your family, you are a completely dependent mother on your son. He most probably would have been a successful professional in his career and would have earned more. We think you deserve a lot more compensation. But the process you need to, we can go to file, basically write the Constitution of India grants you a fundamental right to life. It was violated for your son. You can go to High Court or Supreme Court for the violation of your fundamental right under Article 21 and claim the higher compensation and the other remedies which we sort of. We are looking at somewhere from 1 CR to 1.5 CR, just a rough number, but we need to calculate the exact number depending on month or period.
Just to ensure that both these hospitals will be accounted.
Yes.
Because what I can remember, like when I visited IHC, as I have already informed you guys, initially there were no doctors available there, and I had searched the entire first floor and second floor of the hospital, and I couldn't find it. Like there was minimum staff available.
Yes. Sorry, Smita, I'll be going back to ask you for the details again. So, the first question I have is, you say someone from the operation theater who came out and told you the heart rates were dropping rapidly. Was he the student Aditya? Yes.
No, he was in the student. He was in tech.
Then after the ILC, ILC was that a private hospital?
No,
Obviously, both of the hospitals will be held accountable. So, as they are government institutions, the case we will be filing is against the government. That's why I said we can go with the rate in the Supreme Court or High Court as though these are government institutions. They will be held accountable also. So, it's the duty of the government to ensure that proper medical facilities are provided to all the citizens of India.
So just to conclude all the remedies that you have, first will be, our first approach will be that we will file a criminal complaint. One of our assistants will help you throughout the process. But before that, we do need a credible opinion by an expert. So we'll look into that and tell you the same. Apart from that, we can file to consumer forum as well. So while we are seeking compensation, the jurisdiction for district forum, state forum and national forum is different, meaning the amount of compensation that they can give you is different. So if we reach the district forum, it will be up to 20 lakhs for state, and to national, it will be of 1 crore. So we are yet to decide upon the compensation that we are seeking, so we'll keep that aside. But apart from that, we can also file a writ in the High Court regarding all the inabilities that or shortcomings that there were in the government hospitals. So, do you have any questions for us? Don't worry about it. We'll send you a compiled note of it. If you need anything, anytime, just let us know. We'll explain to you again. Do you need any explanation right now? Hope this was a good session. Thank you.
I'd like to make a correction here. The post-consultation session is going to be of 10 minutes and the counsels may proceed.
I believe Smita was not completely aware of what the important right person has lost. She was not clear with the big amount of compensation get to serve that. Also, there, as per the facts provided by Smita, there was a gross negligence by the professional officer was not there, the special team to administer a resident student who was returning on for the fully administration complex process. Also in the second hospital, there was no one to attend a emergency manual. That's what I thought it is. So I can see a very clear-cut case where the hospital.
Maybe request you to speak a little louder in the mic. In the mic, please.
Help. So, yes. So it's clearly lack of care of duty which both hospitals have failed to provide, which they should have.
Yes, sir. There was a kind of basic case of medical negligence, but we should wait for the opinion of the expert upon this. Apart from that, regarding compensation, she does not have any idea, and we are not here to seek any litigation, any kind of revenge litigation on the hospital. So will assure what are the compensation costs along with her in the next sessions as well. Let's not decide upon it yet, but we'll have to file for the private complaint as early as possible. So let's look into that.
I completely agree with you. First of all, the doctors responsible for this accident, they should be held accountable with the complaint to the council. The license should be cancelled. They should be disbarred from the authority they hold and clearly misused without taking the complete accountability. Secondly, about the compensation, I believe it's not a revenge, but that was a very important right. She should get the compensation for, which the Constitution of India grants this citizen of.
Okay, so let's look into the red that we told her. I hope we are looking here at mandamus.
Yes, of course. Because it's just not about the compensation. The court must direct all the government institutions to keep the necessary important medical facilities which would be needed in the emergency. Because in this case, the hospital has to be changed because there were no facilities for that particular situation. Maybe if the facilities were there in the first hospital itself, Ms. Smita's son would have been alive today.
Sad, actually, the requirements to file the mandamus is there has to be a lower court, a remedy in a lower court that we have exhausted. So let's first focus on consumer protection as well as filing the criminal complaint, and then we'll look into it.
Yes, totally.
Permission of the Vice Chancellor, sir, and on the request of Mr. Singhania, we would like to share our inputs on the deliberation which took place. Is it part of our this evening?
After the second because this will have the other thing.
start? Good morning to everyone present here. I'm Krushi, I'll be your co-clerk here for the session. Please be informed that the client counseling session is going to be of 40 minutes, followed by a post-consultation session of 10 minutes. The counsels may please introduce themselves to the judges.
So I'm speaker one. Yes, sir. I'm speaker one. So I'm here. Oh, yes. So I'm speaker one. My name is Priyamudi.
I'm speaker 2. My name is Ravi.
I am the client, PM Soni.
You may start.
Hi, it's a pleasure to meet you. I am Mr. Priyam. I'm a partner at KPMG Legal.
I'm Abhira. I'm also a partner at KPMG Legal.
And Smita.
Before beginning with today's session, I would like to give you a brief introduction about our firm and about us. Our firm, KPMG Legal, works in various extensive areas of law. We also have a stronghold of environmental law, family law, and we also have stronghold over contract law and criminal law as well. We have been in business for over 2 decades now, and we have been practicing attorneys for over a decade now. So you can be rest assured that we'll provide you best-in-class services and will help you and guide you in making an informed decision at the end of today's session. We'll also try to accommodate all your needs, concerns, and thoughts that you'll be expressing, throughout today's session. So it's safe to conclude that you are in safe hands, and please feel comfortable during the session today. The basic aim of today's session is to understand your problem fully and to explore various legal outcomes. Moreover, we will not only be restricting ourselves to the legal outcomes, but will also consider various aspects that might be affecting you both personally, emotionally and physically. Any financial considerations might be there which might be affecting you. Having said that, we both will be assisting you today because we believe that our combined practice, knowledge and experience will help us to reach a more effective legal solution and also to understand your problem in a more better way. We will be referring to various notes during the entire session because we received a secretary note from a legal team beforehand, which allowed us to do some basic introductory research and which will also help us to understand your problem better. Having said that, I would like Mr. Avira to lay down some basic details regarding today's session.
So this is the first time you are visiting a lawyer for this matter?
Yes.
So I'll just lay down some basic procedural details about today's session. So one of the most important aspect of today's session that is completely confidential in nature. So we'll be making notes of the meeting floor for our record, but we will ensure that this also would remain strictly confidential. It will also be signing a non-disclosure agreement towards the end of the meeting. What this does is it would ensure that any communication that you would bring forward to us would not be shared to a third party without your explicit consent. This is a client-centered discussion. You are in complete control of the information that you want to share to us. But it would be better if you would be as open as possible about your problem. since this is essentially a collaborative effort to reach an amicable solution for your problem. So this is a 40-minute round, 40-minute session, and it will first begin with you providing some basic details about your issue. Then we will discuss some some legal remedies and the further procedures that has to be followed. And as a matter of policy, we offer a first session completely free, and we can discuss the fee structure later on. But if you feel that your case is one in which there is a lot of financial hardship, we are more than willing to take up your matter pro bono. So you don't need to worry about the fee aspect of this case. And also, as a matter of policy, if there is any, we try to avoid any conflict of interest. What this means is that if you are trying to seek a relief against one of our pre-existing clients, we'll end the session right there and then, and we can also recommend your case to some other attorney if you would want us to do so.
So do you have any question regarding what we just explained?
No question regarding.
So just a reminder, please try to be as open as possible. Please also try to share all the information that you want to, that even if the information that you might find irrelevant, please try to share that information. I completely understand this is a very emotional problem for you. It involves a lot of emotional turmoil, but please try to be as open as possible. And as we just told you, this is an entirely confidential session. So whatever you share with us will not be communicated to the third party. And even if you decide not to take our services, that information shall remain confidential and will thereafter be destroyed. So can you please tell us why you are here?
Okay. I'm Smita, and I'm here because I lost my 17-year-old son about a week ago. It was an unfortunate incident that happened. Last Sunday, we were chatting till late night because it was Sunday, and my son Rahul, he started to feel pain, immense pain in his abdomen, and I was scared after that, and so we rushed to the nearest hospital, which is about 2 kilometers from our residence. City Hospital, it's the name of the hospital. There we went. I had taken Rahul's Rashi card. Since we belong to the economically weaker section, the government under the health scheme has provided us with a card which in any government-run hospital we can get free treatment up to 5 lakhs. So in panic, I just took his Rashi card and we rushed to the hospital. There we went, and the hospital denied to accept that card, and they said that since processing of this card will take some time, we won't be able to accept it right now, and until unless you pay the admission fee, we won't be allowing you any treatment. However, Rahul was sent to OPD, and after about 30 minutes, the doctor in OPD said that he has diagnosed him with appendicitis, and he said that an urgent surgery would be required to remove the appendix, and if not done so, his condition may be very critical. So by the hospital, doctor was appointed. As far as I remember, it was Dr. Kumar. Dr. Kumar was appointed, and he was being assisted by a trainee named Aditya. So Aditya was the one who was preparing for his surgery. I was just outside the operation theatre, and I believe 30-35 minutes, I could see a chaos outside operation theatre. Attendants were moving in and out with different sort of equipments. I was very scared as to what happened to Rahul. So I inquired one attendant. His name was Ankit. As I saw on his badge that was on his pocket. So he said that Rahul's heart rate is declining very rapidly, and he seems to be in very critical situation. Even the doctors are saying that he has to be referred to a more advanced hospital. So when I got to know this, the doctor then came and told me that he has to be referred to Indian Health Center. So the ambulance of the hospital only took him to the IHC, and there as soon as we reached the emergency, the ambulance of City Hospital left, and there was a delay of about 30 minutes for a doctor to come and check Rahul, even though it was an emergency condition. And when he checked him, he said he's brought dead. I was shattered and could not realize what to do. I knew, like, I had my cousin in that hospital, so in all this panic, I called him, and his name is Ankur. So I called him, and he was also not picking up my call. And I don't know. I mean, at this point I feel like I'm the unluckiest woman. There have been 2 tragedies in our family in past 2 years. Last year, I lost my husband due to a workplace accident, and now my beloved son Rahul is also no more. Rahul was a very hardworking and sincere child. He was with his studies in his 12th standard. He was managing to work as well, and he was the sole breadwinner of a family consisting of me and him. So, yes, this is the reason I'm here. I don't know what legal recourse we can take against the hospital. So, I believe you people would be able to help me in that regard.
Completely understand the emotional turmoil that you might be going through. I'm also a father of 2 children, and I completely understand the bond that a parent has with his son. And when the bond is shattered, and the emotional turmoil and the tragedy that one faces, we'll do our best to ensure that you are given the appropriate legal remedy, and the justice is served to you both financially. All the people who are responsible, for the death of the son are held accountable. So we'd like to have some more.
No, it's fine.
I'm extremely sorry about all the hardship that you have to go through. But be rest assured that we'll be assisting you throughout the whole legal process, and we'll help you out with it. So, since there was a lot of information that was shared in the past few minutes, I would like to briefly summarize it, just to ensure that we are on the same page regarding the facts. So, you are Rahul, your son Rahul, he was 17 years old, he was the sole breadwinner of the family. He felt pain in the abdomen, and both of you went to the hospital nearby, and you are not you are not EWS card, you are a Rashi card, which would help you avail free service in the hospital, but they did not accept that card, and they had to pay the admission fee there.
I did not pay the admission fee, but still they did. Because, as I said, I just rushed with the Rashi card. I did not have any cash, and we belong to a poor family. So we waited till the hospital, like the doctor in OPD said that he has to go for a surgery.
So you were sent to OPD. The attendant said that Rahul's heart rate was increasingly going down. So the doctor said that he had to be referred to a specialty hospital, that is Indian Health Center. And he was later transferred to that in the hospital on ambulance. He reached Indian Health Center, but he was not admitted even though it was an emergency case. He was left outside the hospital for around 30 minutes. And once he was finally admitted, he was unfortunately brought dead.
Yes.
These are the facts, but I'm not missing anything.
No, you can ask further questions if you have. What I can gather in this situation, I could tell you. I have told you already.
So before we move on to suggesting any legal solutions, require some clarification from which will allow us to understand the problem. So can you please tell us, was your son had any previous treatment regarding the certain stomach pain that he had? Was he taking any medicine, or did you had any did you give him anything just to help him with the pain maybe?
Yes, he was diagnosed with appendicitis earlier, but a surgery was not required. He was taking medicines and all.
Was both of the hospitals government hospitals?
Yes.
So can you please walk me through what happened after your child was admitted in the hospital? In the first hospital. Was there any consent form that was signed by you? Or was there any additional requirement that was asked by the hospital authorities from you?
Yes, when Mr. Kumar was appointed, then they asked me to fill up the consent form, but admission form was not signed because, as I said, they were asking me to pay admission charges. So, but since it was emergency, they still proceeded with the surgery after getting consent form signed by me.
Did you explain all the possible risks that is associated with the surgery, and what could happen if the surgery was not done?
Dr. Kumar briefed me once.
Can you please be more specific about what do you think happened during the preparation that was done by the trainee? You said there was chaos and everything. Can you be please more specific about it?
I don't know. After 30 minutes, I could just see attendants moving in and out with different equipments. I could see that something wrong was going on inside, but what wrong, that I don't know.
So the doctors did not communicate any of the concerns related to that with you? Regarding crowds, complication, why it happened? Nothing like that? Nothing of that sort?
No.
So can you please also walk me through what happened when you reached the advanced hospital? Were you just there, and after 30 minutes of waiting period, did the doctor arrive, or do you think there was unnecessary delay on the doctor's part? The doctor gave you an explanation regarding what was the reason he was dead, or why he was delayed maybe in approaching you?
Okay, so while we were there, the city hospital's ambulance left, and he was there in the emergency ward. But the doctor came after 30 minutes of delay. And as I said, there is my cousin named Ankur, who is a supporting staff there. So later on, he told me that there was a VVIP patient due to which all the staff and all the qualified doctors were there in his treatment. So at that time, he told me that this could be the reason for the delay.
Was there anything unusual that happened during the transport from the one hospital to the other in the ambulance itself?
No.
Do you have any specific documents regarding it, the bill receipts, the referral that was made from the first hospital to the advanced hospital? Any documented evidence regarding delay or something we might
I have the discharge summary from City Hospital as well as from ISC and death certificate that they issued.
Was there any post-mortem conducted?
Yes, a post-mortem was conducted.
Do you have any further details about the post-mortem report itself, the cause of death, or the cause of death in the death certificate?
In a post-mortem report, it was mentioned that alcohol was mixed with while anesthesia was being provided.
So, what exactly is the outcome that you are expecting from this case? Do you want to punish the wrongdoers in this case, or do you just want financial compensation? What are you expecting? What are you expecting?
My expectation, what do I expect here? I lost my son and his life cannot be brought back. I remember that night we were chatting, I told him that this winter I'll make his favorite gajar ka halwa. But in matter of 2 hours, he's no more. But my only expectation I believe, or at least one of the expectations, is that the way I suffered, nobody else should suffer because of such delays, or because even though Rashi Card is a health scheme that the government has provided, but if it is not effectively being implemented and the doctors, the hospitals are not accepting it, then what's the point? So yeah.
Just as a final question, did you speak to any of the other witnesses in the city hospital other than the attendants?
So I think so we have enough information that we can, identify some strengths, some weaknesses, and some aspects we might have to just look into. So as regards the fact that there was some chaos that happened during the preparation of the surgery, but we do not have the specifics regarding the same, right? So we'll have to look into that aspect. We'll have to find more documented and documentary evidences so that we can basically exactly know what happened and what was the reason of the the chaos.
Yes, I do have the discharge summary that you can check. I am not literate enough to understand, but I think that I can provide you after this session.
I think the post-mortem report which mentions that alcohol was mixed with anesthesia is kind of a damning evidence to show that there was some kind of misconduct in the first hospital.
Yes, the person who was discharged, who gave me dead body of my son Rahul, he told me while providing me with the postmortem report that cause of death is that only. Because of that only, his heart rate was declining so rapidly.
Also regarding the aspect that there was delay in the doctor arriving because he was busy with some BPIP patients.
Actually, my cousin said that all of the doctors were busy in his treatment.
Yeah.
Maybe there was some surgery or operation.
That definitely is a strong aspect for us because as you know, we have a right to health under our constitution, which basically says that you will be provided quality health care, especially in government hospitals, right? And since it was a government hospital, just because there was a PPIP, it did not mean that all the other patients' health is compromised because of one person. So this is genuinely a very strong aspect in our case. So as regards these aspects, we do have strong provisions in our constitution, in our law, which provide us the remedy that we are seeking here. Just before we delve into the specifics of the case, I would like to basically give you a broad outlook over some legal concepts which will help us to understand the better. So basically negligence, right? Negligence is basically a due care that person must exercise, right? As compared to one, in relation to one who, of an ordinary person who would have exercised the same duty of care in an ordinary situation, right? So there are various elements as well. Firstly, there must be a duty of care. For example, there must be a duty of care from doctor to the patient, right? There must be a breach of duty of care, right? There must be a duty of care and there must be breach that the doctor did not arrive for the patient, right? There was wrongfully mixing of alcohol in the anesthesia, not accepting of the Rashi card and not admitting the patient promptly. So there is this breach of duty that is there, and then there is the damage caused. In this case, of course, the health and the life of your beloved son was lost. So all these aspects makes up for the negligence, right?
Another aspect that would come in is medical negligence. So medical negligence is a specific type of negligence that occurs in the healthcare setting. It happens when a doctor or a medical practitioner fails to meet the accepted standard of care while treating a patient, and there is and the duty of care is also not met, and that will result in a hurt or an injury. So when I refer to duty of care, I mean the legal obligation that a doctor or a healthcare provider owes towards the patient. And when I talk about standard of care, this duty of care basically requires the doctors or nurses to provide treatment in a way that the patient's safety and well-being is ensured during the procedure. So coming to standard of care refers to the level of care and skills that a reasonably competent medical practitioner with similar qualifications as the doctor here would provide under the same circumstances. When a doctor is treating a patient, they must follow the generally accepted practices that the other skilled doctors would follow.
So, with regards to the remedies available to us, we have various compensated remedies available to us as well. which will basically help us to, which will basically provide us compensation for the harm that has been done to us. One of the remedies available to us is under Consumer Protection Act. Right? It's basically an act which deals with the needs and the trust of the consumers. Here we are the consumer because we are taking the services of the hospital, right? So basically, it's a.
I have a question. Since I did not, since I did not pay admission charges, will it affect our case because I did not pay for that? So if applicability of this law would be affected because I did not pay, that's my concern.
So for you to be a consumer, you must pay a fee or a consideration for the services or the goods that you are receiving. However, there has been cases where the courts have said that if you are being provided a service as a financial incentive or because of the financial hardships, then you still will be considered a customer, right? So in this case, the Rashi card was not accepted, which was the financial incentive that was provided by the government, right? So since it was not accepted, you will not basically will not come under that category of the person who was given the exemption due to the medical hardship. So it was basically service that was provided to you free of charge. So of course we cannot get compensation under the CPA because this law will not be applicable in the fact of the present case. So you could, was I clear enough for you to understand?
You said that I will be considered to be consumer as per this law, but I won't be able to get the remedy of compensation.
Because basically we did not pay the fee that was required and our Rashi card was also not accepted.
Basically that would not amount to as service, as free services, free healthcare services being provided do not amount to a service under Consumer Protection Act and for India have dealt with it widely.
So what remedies do I have then?
So since we do not have a remedy under CPA, we do have civil remedies under the tort law of medical negligence. Right? So basically every medical practitioner as he claims has a duty of care versus a standard of care that has to practice. Right? So in this case there was several instances of that duty of care and standard of care. Right? Firstly, one of the rights that is given to a patient is that he must be provided prompt medical attention whenever that is required, right? And in a government hospital, one cannot be forced, or one cannot be made, or cannot have to wait a lot for filing some additional documents or payment of fees if it's a situation involving emergency, right? So that is also one of the aspects that we can look into. That Rashi card was not accepted; you were made to wait for like half an hour.
Of course, other than the Rashi card, we definitely have the evidence of anesthesia being administered in a wrong manner. So, alcohol was mixed with anesthesia. That's a really, really grave case of.
There's another instance of medical negligence that is very much visible. Was that during the preparation of the surgery, there was chaos, and it was not handled in the way a hospital is required to handle it. Right? There must be emergency exit. There must be protocols that must be followed in that case, or there must be transfer of patients from that area to some other area. So I don't think so. There was all of these steps were taken. Do you think any of these steps were taken by the hospital authorities to mitigate the damage?
Yes. If they could not treat him, then they referred to an advanced hospital. So, and on that part, they did the right thing, but at the advanced hospital, only if I could not get the adequate treatment on time.
Yeah, so definitely with regards to the advanced, the second hospital that you went into, there was delay in providing the services, right? There was emergency care that was needed in the fact of the present case. There was duty of the hospital towards you to provide you the care, and there was the breach of that duty. Right? So in this case, of course, we have a strong case of compensation that is available to us. Not only compensation, we can also ask for punitive damages. Right? It's basically additional financial considerations that the court will grant us because of complete disregard of the protocols by the healthcare practitioners and the hospitals.
Just to add on, you can ask for punitive damage. We can actually pay a large amount of punitive damages here, but while claiming a large amount of punitive damages, the court might also order a large amount of court fees. So since you are a poor client, you might not be able to pay such a large amount of court fees.
I have a question regarding this. So if I can, like as per the law you mentioned, if I cannot get compensation, financial compensation for the same, so how can how can I get the damages? So, yeah,
You can get financial compensation for the same.
but not under the law that you mentioned
Not under
earlier.
the CPA.
But we can find a civil suit in a district court
Okay.
under the law of tort.
Law of
Medical
tort.
negligence.
Medical negligence.
Medical negligence. There was no duty of care. There was duty of care, and that was breached.
So, if I had paid admission charges, I could have got financial compensation from both the laws, but now that I did not pay or they did not accept my card, I can only get under the law later you mentioned.
So, of course, CPA has its own set of benefits. You can file a complaint online. There's speedy disposal of cases, but since we do not come under the category of we do not pay the fee. Of course, in this case, CPA will not apply, but we have sufficient remedy under the tort law for compensation.
Just talking about, we can seek high amount of punitive damages in a civil suit, but if there is a high amount of punitive damages, the court will also impose a high amount of court fees. So you might not be able to pay such a high amount. The court fees you have to pay in the beginning of the proceeding itself, before the damage itself is awarded. So you might not be able to pay such a high amount, which should probably be in lakhs. So one recourse that we have is approaching the court as an indigent person.
So, if I had paid the admission charges, then I would not have to pay heavy court fees.
No, the court fee is essential. If you are claiming compensation, then you have to pay a court fee for
No,
initiating.
if the other law applied and because I had paid the admission fee,
Then you would not have had to pay court.
so under the act you had mentioned earlier, I did not have to court fee, but now because
We do have other recourses regarding court fees. I will explain it to you further.
Okay.
You can approach the court as an indigent person. The indigent person is someone who does not have the means to pay the court fees or means to deal with the financial aspects of a litigation. So there is some procedure associated with this being notified as an indigent person. The court will conduct an inquiry, and there will be a notice in front of the district collector also. We will help you in handling all these aspects. What will happen if you are classified as an indigent person is you do not have to pay court fees initially, but once the damages are awarded by the court, then the court fees amount will be deducted by the court. So you do not initially need to pay court fees out of your own money.
Yeah. With regards to criminal charges, like we have civil.
How much compensation can I expect here, considering
Since
these?
we'll be able to highlight to the court, compensation is a lot of discretion has been awarded to court to decide the amount of compensation. But we'll do a complete factual and legal analysis to put forward various facts before the court. For example, your economic, financial hardship that you're facing.
The fact that Ravi was your only breadwinner.
And the grave medical negligence that has been here with regards to anesthesia, with regards to the fact that we're not given prompt medical attention. So we'll try to bring all these aspects in front of the court to ensure that the sufficient amount of compensation is given so that we complete justice.
But just for us to have an amount, we need to do a careful investigation of all the documents, all the evidence that we have, all the allegations of misconduct that is there against the law.
So my question is that this whatever compensation, if the court orders, would have to be paid by the hospital. But what about the doctors, because of whose negligence I love my beloved son?
So we can implicate both the doctors and the hospital itself in this suit. So the doctor worked as an independent contractor. He's an independent contractor, but the hospital would still be vicariously liable for the acts of the doctor. There are lot of case laws in India which deal with the same.
As far as I remember, they are regular employees of the government, not independent
Yeah,
contractor. That because you asked me to tell me whatever facts, I'm just
that is more strength to our case. Then the hospital themselves can be held liable and we can file suit against them. It would be necessary. It would be better if you would treat the hospital themselves as a client, because since the government institution will be treating the government as a party, and we'll be able to extract a higher amount of damages from them.
Will the doctors be imprisoned?
Yeah,
We are
so
coming
with
to
regards to criminal charges, you can bring a lot of criminal charges. There are very criminal remedies that are available under the law. So there's remedy of death by negligence, right? So basically, if the act of a doctor or a healthcare professional, or let's say a hospital, is such grossly negligent and grossly indifferent to the duty of care that the court thinks that the imprisonment should be given. In the court, we can basically file best charges under these many provisions. For example, endangering the life of the patient. For example, causing grievous hurt to the patient. However, it must be highlighted that the test or the standard of the liability or the things we might have to show the court, convince the court that there was gross negligence on the part of the healthcare professional is a lot higher.
So how can we prove that they were negligent in their duty?
Yeah,
In these facts that I told you.
one of the main proofs in support of this is the post-mortem report. So, cell was mixed with anesthesia. It's a grave misconduct, and we could come under criminal negligence.
Also, the fact that you might also have to show before filing a criminal charge that there is a prima facie case in our favor. So we might have to file a report with Medical Council of India to get a independent report from an independent medical professional regarding all the negligence claims. So we'll also ensure that we file a report with Medical Council of India to get that report.
Why is such a requirement when the post-mortem itself says that there was negligence on part of the doctors, alcohol was there mixed with anesthesia?
Definitely, the thing is, it's a procedural requirement that has been maintained by courts, just to ensure that a medical expert who is accustomed to all these medicine-related facts of the case will be able to handle the facts better, and will be able to certify that some kind of negligence has happened.
So another remedy that is available to us is with regards to public interest litigation. Right? It's basically a remedy which we can directly file a case before a Supreme Court, that is the apex court, or maybe the High Court. Because as you said, we have broader interests as well. We want compensation, we get compensation. We also claim for medical charges, but we also want to ensure that anyone who might be facing a similar problem with regards to not acceptance of Rashi card, or if he goes to a government hospital and he's not given adequate and prompt attention. So we want those stuff to be handled by the apex court, which can also give an order and a judgment.
I heard that a Supreme Court's lawyer fee is very hefty. So, how much amount would be required to pay to a law firm to represent my case?
Of course, since your case is one in which there's an exceptional financial hardship, we would be more than happy to take it up pro bono. So legal fees is not something that you need to be worried about.
So we completely understand the emotional turmoil, the financial hardships, and we are there for you. So please don't be worried about the financial considerations that you might have. We do not want you to decide anything now. These are various legal options that are available to us. You can deliberate over the same, right? You are also not bound by what you might tell you. It's just a legal advice, and we will also explore various other legal options that we have in the other sessions, other upcoming sessions. Before we just depart, it was a pleasure to meet you. I shall be your first point of contact, and if you have any problem, you can always contact Chris. We will be there for you 24/7. So please do not hesitate to call. And if you have any consideration, please reach out to us.
This is our business. Both of our numbers, you can contact us anytime. We'll be because he will be available at any point of the day. But even if he is not there, you can directly contact us. And can you please give me the agreement? So this is basically a retainer agreement if you want to continue with the firm. And there is also a non-disclosure clause which would ensure that confidentiality is maintained.
So I hope it was a great session for you. If you have any question, doubts, you can always ask.
No, I do not have any questions. I sincerely thank both of you from my heart for doing this session and helping me in this situation. I certainly believe that my son's departed souls have blessed you and your family. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, and we hope to meet you soon for a second session. I'll just show you.
The counsels will begin the post-consultation.
I think we do have a strong case in the grounds of medical negligence, especially with regards to the alcohol being contaminated, the anesthesia being contaminated with alcohol is something as certifiable as a post-mortem report is there as evidence for it.
I think so. Yeah, it was a great session. She was very, all the emotional burden she's carrying, but still she was able to share a lot of details with that, which will eventually help us to build a strong detailed and factual case, in our favor.
But we would still need to explore certain further documents or further evidence and proof. We can see if there were any other witnesses which saw what exactly happened at that point of time.
Yeah, I think so. We'll also have to look into various aspects now. We only have very superficial view regarding what happened, what transpired. So we'll have to get in touch with the hospital authorities as well. We'll have to find various documentation with regards to the bills, and we'll also have to file a case. Yeah. So I think so. The broad objective. What do you think the broad objectives of our client?
I think the broad objective of client was definitely to punish the wrongdoers and to ensure that something of this sort never happens again. And of course, since she was from a really poor background and her sole breadwinner was lost, compensation would help her greatly.
Yeah, definitely. With regards to the fact that we have various legal remedies, and medical negligence and a very technical aspect. It has a very technical aspect to it. So I think so. Firstly, we'll have to do a great and a very thorough research with regards to all the their instances that we have just witnessed. For example, there was mixing of alcohol. So we'll have to see the post-mortem report. We'll also have to see aspects of plastic card. Why was it not accepted?
Yeah, why was it not accepted? Is there any legal wrong caused by the hospital not accepting the plastic card?
Also with regards to the fact that CPA will not be applicable in this case, the plastic card was not accepted, and he was basically admitted free of charge. So this was a great remedy for us, which would have avoided a lot of trouble going to court, finding us with student or tort law. But I think so still we have a strong case in tort law because there was a clear duty, and there was a clear duty of that was with regards to anesthesia, with regards to there was shortcomings in the preparation as well, with regards to delay in attending the patient.
Yes. And if we explore certain further documentation, we'll be able to build a further strong case, and we'll be able to ask for more punitive damages. And I think it's good that we explored the aspect of him being an indigent person, which will save him from the hassle of court cases. Court fees worth lakhs of rupees would be impossible for him to pay.
I think so we should go forward with filing and doing all the procedural work that we are required to do, with regards to declaring third degree. You have to go to collect the records, you have to go to as well examine the witness.
I think one certain aspect that we missed out while recommending stuff to the client was filing a petition, filing a complaint to the Indian Council of medicine, which would be for suspending or terminating the doctor and the anesthesiologist or anyone else who has been involved in this gross act of medical negligence.
Yeah, of course, we have to look into that aspect as well. We also have to file for the criminal charges because, of course, to give a full justice, we not only need punitive damages, but we also need those who are held accountable. But, there's various complications when it comes to criminal charges because courts generally don't go for imprisoning, medical professionals because the burden of proof is higher, and they go for gross negligence, which is much higher than, they don't just go for, the courts don't just see the damage that was caused, but they also, because in this case, the life was caused. So damage was of course of highest quality, highest pain or tragedy that can happen to one. But the court sees the degree of negligence that is being played. So mixing of anesthesia plus alcohol might be a very gross negligence that we must have to check with the independent.
So for the certification, I think we'll be able to build a really strong case for criminal negligence.
Yeah, but with regards to the fact that that doctor was of course the reason was there, that was all the hospitals and everyone was busy with VVIP. But in this case, you might have a weak case because the delay was of it might not be a significant period, but still they must have some few doctors who are always there for criminal.
No, but I did think the client mentioned that all the doctors were assisting the VVIP client. There were no doctors at all to assist him. So I think this is a gross act of misconduct by the hospital. And the right to life is a constitutional right enshrined under Article 21. I feel there was a clear violation of this by the hospital. It does not matter whether there was a VVIP client there or not. Every common client and a VVIP client deserves to have the same protection.
Definitely. Also, what's your take on regard, remedy or for PI? You can file PI, right?
Yeah, especially I feel that this aspect of misconduct is kind of an example of the general state of government hospitals in India today. And if we file a PIL, the Supreme Court might be able to order certain other guidelines on improvement of certain aspects. I think it will be a good option to.
And I think so she was very much concerned with regards to her financial status. She wanted us to take the case to, and I think so this is one of the cases where our legal profession must come to forefront and protect the victim of all these medical negligences, of all the societal things that are happening. So I think so this is one of the perfect case that we should take the case pro bono and help her in every and any possibility.
Definitely, I think if we go on to file a PIL, we might be able to bring significant change to society at large through this case itself.
So how do you think our conversation with the client was?
I think she was really forthcoming despite the horrible incidents that happened to her. And we were able to extract a lot of information out of her, just really willing to communicate it to her, and that would make our job much easier.
So I think so we should just divide the work that we are planning to do from now on.
So I think I'll start with drafting a petition for the civil suit, and I'll also conduct research on further and file a criminal complaint.
I will go get in touch with the client to see if there is any new information that comes up, and I will always be in contact with her so that we get all the information that we want. I will also help her to arrange some documents like bail and medical fees, and to see if there is any other course that we can take. I will also go about with the procedure regarding you must file a civil suit as quickly as possible. I think so you can also take up the fact of filing a complaint before Medical Council of India.
Definitely, I will follow up on that. Let's wait.
Round is over.